Ang isang napakalaking nangyari ay ang pagtaas ng presyo ng langis. At ito ay talagang mahirap natin sagutin at gawa ng paraan dahil wala tayong control diyan. Oil will do what it will do. The markets will behave in the way that they behave. No one, not even the producers have control over the world price of oil. All that we can do is to compensate our people and to support our people so that they have some assistance in the face of this. Ang ating mga nagpatupad tayo ng mga ilang inisyatibo upang matulungan ang ating mga kababayan. Para sa lahat ng na sumasakay sa mga transport system natin ay nagbigay tayo ng libreng sakay. Meron tayong 50% na discount sa LRT2 at MRT3 para sa lahat ng commuter. Binawasan na rin ng CAAP ang terminal at aeronautical fee para maging mas mura ang pamasahe sa eroplano. Para naman sa ating mga tsuper, namamahagi tayo ng cash assistance sa 120,000 na tricycle driver at TNVS drivers. Nagbigay din tayo ng toll discount para sa mga jeepney, para sa mga bus at para sa mga truck. Para naman sa pagkain, dahil siyempre inaalala din natin na wag sumabay ang presyuhan ng pagkain, ay pinalawak natin ang 20 peso rice program sa 627 centers na binuksan natin na nakabukas sa buong bansa. The reason that I declared an energy emergency is to provide government with more options should the need arise. Binibigyan nito ng ating pamahalaan ang mga kapangyarihan kumilos ng mas mabilis, bumili ng langis ng hindi na kailangan na dumaan pa sa matagal na proseso at pagsamahin ang lahat ng ahensya sa isang direksyon. Those are the authorities and the powers that we might need in the future and we would like to have available to us. Nakikipag-ugnayan din tayo sa Kongreso. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong page. Itinatag ng EO 110, which is the executive order that I signed yesterday, ang uplift. Ito ang aming unified command na aking personal na pinanunuan. I am the chairman of this working group.
We're going strict on this and the rest will follow because not only 3 did we issue today but 55. May +1 na kanina. So 55 orders that we issued today. Kaya reminder lang to, sa mga gas stations, makikinabang kayo sa isang araw, 2 araw, pero pag nahuli po kayo, forever na kayo hindi pwedeng magbenta.
Meron mang pondo o merong may pambili, may makukunan ba? So dapat from on the onset of the crisis, nag-adjust na kagad sila ng minimum required inventory. Diba? Dapat proactive hindi ganitong ang naano ko sa mga ahensya, napaka-reactive, no? Isasabihin pa nila, paano natin iaano yung mga required legislation? Halimbawa, giving emergency powers or whatever, kasi daw naka-break ang Congress. Baka pagbalik namin sa Mayo, sitwasyon. Congress can be convened at any time, especially during crisis situation. When if the situation warrants. So, parang yung utak ng mga ahensya, reactive Diba? Hindi ganito. Crisis na tayo ngayon. Kailangan, ang sa akin, what is very important, more important than anything, magtuloy ang industriya, magtuloy yung transport sector para ekonomiya natin ay hindi naman sumadzad at kahit papano mabuhay, hindi mawalan ng trabaho ang ating makbabayan.
So sir, para lumilitaw, nabagalan kayo sa naging aksyon ng government nitong nakalipas na mga araw?
Hindi naman babagal, mukhang sobra lang ang bagal. Kasi reactive di ba? Isipin mo, narinig mo kahapon mismo, naka-breakdown ang Congress. My God, crisis na tayo, naka-break daw ang Congress. Emergency situation, the President may call on the Congress at any time.
The Vice President has been invited to participate. She is reportedly prepared for a full-scale legal battle, a bloodbath, as it has been described, assembling a very large team of lawyers. She is apparently ready to face the accusations and defend herself at length. And yet it appears she will not even participate. We recall the words of Justice Antonio Tiham in the previous impeachment against Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sireno. Failure to participate in the hearings before the Committee on Justice is tantamount to a culpable violation of the Constitution. Ayon sa pananaw na iyon, ang hindi pagharap sa proseso ay maaaring ituring na patuloy na paglabag sa saligang batas. Ang tanong ngayon, maaari rin ba nating sabihin ito sa Vice Presidente? Let us remember, the Vice President took the same oath. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and conscientiously fulfill my duties, preserve and defend the Constitution, execute its laws, do justice to every man, and consecrate myself to the service of the nation. Lahat ho ng kawani ng gobyerno, lahat ng opisyal ng pamahalaan, iisa ang panunumpa, iisa ang pamantayan, iisa ang pananagutan. Ang panunumpang ito ay hindi lamang pangako ng panunungkulan. Ito ay panata ng pagharap sa pananagutan at paggalang sa saligang batas. Dito sa komite, susundan natin ang saligang batas. Hindi natin tatalikuran ang ating tungkulin. Iyan ang inaasahan ng taong bayan. Hindi pag-iwas, kundi pagharap. Hindi katahimikan, kundi pananagutan. Sapagkat ang panunumpa ay hindi lamang binibigkas sa simula. Ito ay pinatutunayan sa bawat pagkakataon na tayo ay sinusubok. So regardless of the participation of the Vice President, and even in her absence, this committee will proceed.
Are there annexes in the complaint?
There is none.
Madam Chair, clearly this will be the biggest fishing fleet expedition that we are doing. Because it was, we only deal with ultimate facts. In fact, we are trying here to determine whether there is violation of the 6 grounds of the Constitution as stated in the 2 complaints. And so therefore, how can we have that, Madam Chair? So that's the first one. Secondly, did I hear from you that you want records from a law office? I heard something because this is new to us. This is a surprise to us, all of us here, that they are now a subpoena for entities that are not included in the complaint. So are you saying there's something about a law office?
To be clear, these are in the SALN of the Vice President for 2023 and 2024. So I think there is nothing that prevents this committee from basically issuing subpoenas on documents that are actually public documents, Madam Chair.
No, I'm asking specifically. There was a statement. You're asking for subpoena for a law office.
Yes, because our assumption is that this is an incorporated law office because it was stated as one of the business interests of the Vice President in her SALN.
As any communication from the Office of the Vice President manifesting that she will not attend today's initial hearing. The only communication we received with respect to that is the letter from her counsel, Fortune Narvasa and Salazar.
Any comment from the Honorable De Lima?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's very unfortunate that the respondent herself is disrespecting her. So this is disrespect, another manifestation of her affront the constitutional process. I remember what the Honorable Chair cited earlier in her opening remarks. There's this quote from former Supreme Court Justice, I think it's Noel Tiham, not Antonio Tiham, as stated earlier, about the fact that failure to appear, failure to participate in the impeachment proceedings, it's itself a betrayal of public trust, because this is a formal constitutional process that everyone is expected to respect, especially the parties like the respondents. So it is very unfortunate that we have this mindset again, this attitude on the part of the respondent, showing disrespect and affront to the constitutional process of impeachment. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will wait for the subpoena. Titingnan ko kung ano yung laman ng subpoena. But definitely, I'm willing to attend. No? Wala akong any intention to evade having to attend before the Committee on Justice. Although, I must say, I was monitoring the hearings. In fact, that's why hindi kami nag-start until matapos yung hearings out of due respect na rin to the Committee on Justice. I was a bit surprised because I think the ground stated there was that I was the one in charge of the accomplishment reports, etc., which obviously the facts and documents would show that it was not me. No? But nonetheless, I don't see any point in not appearing, so I will definitely abide by the subpoena, subject to, of course, titingnan natin kung ano yung laman. Pagdating naman doon sa ibang subpoena that will be issued for the documents, I think it is our job as counsels to look first at kung ano yung scope ng subpoena and see kung naayon ba sa batas yung pag-issue ng subpoena.
Actually, pakabot ko lang, ay yung reaction niyo po ng pagkustodiya ng Kamara kay Romil Madriaga?
Sa akin, that is something that is between actually the court, the Committee on Justice and the court that has jurisdiction over the case of Romil Madriaga. Again, that goes into yung mga processes na kasi na to, kakibat siya nung mismong proseso na kina-question namin. But as to the safety of Mr. Madriaga, hindi kami yung may hawak ng kaso kasi na perjury laban kay Mr. Madriaga, no? Pero as to the safety, gusto naman namin mag-testify siya eh. Diba? Kasi paano natin pabubulaanan yung mga sinasabi niya kung hindi natin siya papatestify, hindi ba? Doon lang yung forum. But again, at the proper forum. So, kung siya man ay magte-testify, kung mapunta man tayo sa Senate, at assuming that there are no constitutional infirmities, at napunta tayo doon sa Senate for the hearing, maybe that's a proper time for us to test his credibility.